Hello, welcome to another episode of Bruce's ChinaPerspective. My name is Bruce. For the past week, the novel coronavirus outbreak has seized the headlines of the global media. It is covered extensively not just by Chinese media but also Western media. It was portrayed by some Western media as a crisis for entire humanity, as the one in the rise of the Planet of the Apes. Such exaggeration obviously is inaccurate. Currently, medical study in China and abroad shows that the virus can be well contained with effective quarantine, which is exactly what China has been doing for the past several weeks. Citizens can also effectively protect themselves from infection by practicing good hygiene with disinfection measures, such as 75% alcohol. Washing hands when arriving home also is proven effective. Try not to go to places that have huge crowds also could help reducing and even eliminate the chance of infection totally. More importantly, we just have to make sure to wear a face mask whenever we go out. Meanwhile, the medical treatment in China has proven effective, and it shows that the virus is not that terrible at all. According to most recent statistics, death rate of patients infected with coronavirus is only 2.1% nationwide in China, while death rate for SARS in 2003 is almost 10%. This shows that the coronavirus is much less deadly than SARS. Altogether, with reporting on the severity of the epidemic itself, there is also countless news reports and coverage on how this virus could impact or had impacted the Chinese economy and how it's going to be so bad for small businesses in China. It is true that the service industry now is taking a major hit. Coronavirus broke out during the traditional Spring Festival, which is the most significant holiday for the Chinese. The government discouraged restaurants and entertainment facilities from operating during the epidemic and banned public transportation in many cities. There are pretty much nobody wandering on streets, which were usually packed with people in the Spring Festival of the past. This is apparently a necessary method for curbing the spread of the virus. However, strangely enough, the focus of some Western media on such issues goes to human rights concerns. I don't have a very good memory, but I still remember well enough that the last time when Americans talked about human rights in the Middle East, they started a war seeking weapons of mass destruction to bring people their freedom, human rights, and prosperity.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. The people of the United States and our friends and allies will not live at the mercy of an outlaw regime that threatens the peace with weapons of mass murder.
All that followed, unfortunately, was destruction, millions of civilian deaths and displaced people, and endless instability in the entire region. And guess what? No promised prosperity at all. Where the fuck is the human rights and death of millions of civilians and deadly chaos for so many countries in the Middle East? Western propaganda about human rights is nothing but a fancy story built on a lie. And today they start again to talk about human rights, and that's why and how we should remind ourselves that this could be nothing but just another of their many lies. If the effort to contain the spread of coronavirus, such as quarantine, is a violation of human rights, should it not be a higher level of human rights violation for the US government to shut down its borders to foreign people that would like to enter American territory legally, like international students and business people from China, Belarus, Nigeria, etc.? There is also obviously a huge bunch of evidence about potential treatment methods for coronavirus based on new medicines, old or existing ones, and medical approaches. However, some of them probably are less useful than they look. China is now apparently doing whatever is in its capability to contain the spread of the coronavirus. Our doctors and scientists have been working day and night to develop effective medical treatment and vaccines for it. As a regular Chinese, I just hope that some Western media and some Western politicians do not overreact and even look to profit from it. Donald Trump, the POTUS, recently announced a travel ban of all Chinese citizens to the US, altogether with civilians from several other nations in Europe and Africa. Looks like Trump is trying to isolate the US a little bit more from people on Earth. But we cannot blame him at all, now can we? Since he is already so busy getting impeached and being laughed at on a daily basis by not just the Americans, and still has to fight for re-election. I mean, life just is so hard for him. What else could he do better given the current situation than to look strong by banning something? Like the Chinese traveling to the US and African people and Europeans too. Not even to mention international trade. I was told by some of my friends who are international students from China studying in Aussie universities that they were refused entry into Australian territory to start the new semester. This is all due to travel ban targeting Chinese citizens issued by the Aussie Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who is not much loved by his fellow Aussies to begin with, due to his extremely slow reaction to the bushfire that swept across the entire nation. Now, that was exactly how he dealt with the crisis, Your Excellency. Last time I checked, he didn't manage to have a handshake with his own people. Hope this time he succeeds.
Nah, you're an idiot, mate. Oh. You really
You
are.
won't be getting any votes down here, buddy.
You'd be tired.
Oh, I don't really want to check.
Oh, well, it's nice to see.
What about the people who have nowhere to live?
You're not welcome, you
I was born and raised in mainland China. After I started reading Western media reports extensively, I realized that oftentimes their views on China are prejudiced, inaccurate, and misleading. A lot of what they said about the nation where I was born and raised does not match well, if at all, with my perceptions and experiences. As a 29-year-old Chinese citizen who has lived pretty much my entire life in mainland China, I believe that I am better entitled to say something about my own nation than those Western media reporters who probably never had set foot on this piece of land. Despite knowing that as regular Chinese, my power to change this stereotyping is rather limited, I still would like to make my voice heard to be the change I want to see in the world. This is why I'm here. This is why I started Bruce's ChinaPerspective. To share what is happening in China from the perspective of a regular Chinese that actually lives here. If you would like what you see, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more future videos of Bruce's ChinaPerspective. Thank you.